Hi! Thank you so much for taking the time to be here and to come out and see my work. And I'm going to be sharing the story of how I got started, the story of my art and the meaning behind it. And if you have any questions at the end, I'd love to answer them. So, when I was in high school, I became obsessed with my dreams. I started writing them down backwards, actually, so no one could read them, and I would have to be completely honest with myself about what my experiences were. And I wanted to understand better what was happening, like what a dream was, and where I was going, or what the meaning behind everything that was coming forward was. So the best thing I could come up with to do was to write it down and go from there. And I started developing more clarity on what was happening in the dream, and things became a lot more vivid, and I started developing more control in the dream itself. And I began noticing that my thoughts and my emotions would emanate out into what was surrounding me, and that my visions, my hopes, and my desires, all of my feelings would project outwards and spiral into the creation of the dream, that it would become the material that the dream became made out of, and would be kind of like my operating system for how the dream would unfold. That it would be like I'd be a driver, and I'd be able to drive and direct the dream through my emotions. And if I was able to be intentional in where I was directing things, then it could go in the path that I wanted. If I had gotten triggered by something that was around me, though, and I stayed in a place of fear, then that could spiral out and turn into more fear. And I found this very interesting. And the reason that I started doing this whole process is, as I was saying earlier, I had the questions of what is this experience, and what are we doing here? And the best that I could come up with from what was happening, which I certainly don't have the answers, but what made the most sense to me was that our dreams were serving as a platform for our souls to travel to begin to unpack our days and our emotions, and process our emotions, and have a safe place, and where we can really direct where things go through our connection to our internal communications with our thoughts and our feelings. And when I asked myself, after that, I asked myself, well, what is here? What are we doing here? And this may not resonate with you, but in a way, I think it's kind of the same thing. It's just a little slower, and I know it seems that things are very separate from one another, and that we're isolated from everything else, and that things are very concrete and not moving and not changing. But even if you look at it from the smallest component of things, which is how our thoughts and our feelings change our perceptual lens of what we notice and what we miss, that completely alters the course of your life. Everything that you notice and that you miss changes the direction that you take. And so what I wanted to do with my art, what I wanted to say was hey, listen to what's going on inside of you, because it's important. this is the basis of what's going to direct your life. And if you're able to get your perceptual lens in a good spot, then you're going to notice things that align with it. So, like, I don't know if you've ever had a day where you're really frustrated and you're upset, and so you start noticing all the things that kind of will frustrate you and upset you more, and like the good things that are there, there may be opportunities, there may be things that will spark a path that is very important for your life direction, that could be very, very profound, that could be missed because you weren't able to switch over. And I know some people, they just get stuck in something that takes years away from their life. And so when I began painting faces, I became obsessed with it in the same way that I became obsessed with my dreams. And it was because that I'd be able to process the emotions that I was stuck in. It would give me a chance to really sit with those feelings and process them, and not like a logical way. It would just give me time to ruminate and work my way out of it. And the most important thing I found to working out of the emotions, to be able to transcend past them, was to honor them. And so the process of painting those emotions, seeing that emotion in the face and painting them and expressing that and getting that out there, that allowed me to appreciate them, to appreciate the contrast of the experiences that we get to have. There's a really, really nice beauty in melancholy. There's like very profound things that can be dear to your heart in noticing like that there's a part of it that's sacred, that we're getting to learn from, that we get to have the experience to grow and expand through that. And so I noticed that my art was the alchemist, that it would allow me to transform these emotions into joy, into happiness, and move past these stuck feelings of what we culturally tend to try to push away. That you can take and you can sit with your frustration, you can sit with your grief, you can sit with your sorrow, you can sit with your loss, and you can find love for it, you can find appreciation of it, and you can find the beauty in it. And when I began showing my artwork, I was kind of surprised, because when I'd get to talking to the people who were drawn to a certain piece, they'd gravitate towards a certain piece, and when I began talking to them, it would come out that like what they're working on in their own life happened to align so much with the thoughts and the feelings and the emotions that I was going through at the time I was creating that piece, and that their time of sitting there and looking at the piece would allow them to see the beauty in their own experiences and begin to start that process of sitting with their emotions and honoring them. And so it is my hope that that this can be, hopefully, like through my art, that people are able to move past these negative emotions and get to spend more time in the emotions that they want to have, so they can direct their lives for the experiences that they came here for, that they're excited for. I want people to be able to successfully pursue their dreams and their aspirations, and I feel like everyone should get to be inspired in their life direction, and hopefully something that I said, or some of the works that this experience has to offer can give you something meaningful to carry on through your life. And I really appreciate your time and being here and listening to this talk. Thank you.